Milk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step milk. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I want to talk about the latest with JT Tuimoloau, the number 3 ranked player in the 247 Sports Composite and one of the best non-quarterbacks we've seen in the last 5 years, quite honestly, coming out of Sammamish, Washington. He is wrapping up his last season of high school football, and his ranking is not going to change. He is the top unsigned and uncommitted prospect left in this class, as we are seeing the kiddos schedule official visits beginning in June, with news today that the dead period is going to come to an end in June, which means that 16 months of the dead period is gloriously finally coming to an end in June. It's going to be on and popping. We're about to see official visit over here, official visit over there. Everybody's about to get an official. Everybody's about to go in-person recruiting. And none is more important, I think, than JT Tuimoloau, because he can help you in 2 months, right? So he'll finish up playing basketball at Eastside Catholic. And then he will probably sign financial aid agreements with perhaps all 5 of his suitors before he shows up in the end of the summer in August to declare his intentions. Right now, Ohio State, Alabama, Oregon, USC, and Washington. But importantly, for you Husky fans, he did show up at practice last Saturday. Now, the thing to remember is that practice was open to the public, and it's, part of spring football, and Jimmy Lake was trying to put on for the kiddo. One of the things that Tuimoloau told 247 is he noticed just how organized practice was, and he knows the reputation that Jimmy Lake and the Washington Huskies defense just commands, man. Like, take into account, it's been something like 6 years since the last time that Jimmy Lake and Washington gave up 35 or more points in a game. Some of that has to do with the ball control offense they run, but it also just emphasizes their strength. I mean, they had a defense that was called death row. And when you take a look at some of the guys that have come out of there, one of my favorites here of late, right, Vita Vea, you know what kind of hitters they got. Taylor Rapp, Byron Murphy. Elijah Molden might be a first-round selection. We'll see about that. But you know that if you go to Washington, you can be developed into a defensive talent. Or can you? Because what's going to be interesting about the 21 season is we're going to figure out whether or not Jimmy Lake is the architect of that defense or Pete Kwiatkowski was the architect of that defense, because defense coordinator Pete Kwiatkowski took the job at Texas. He's going to be coordinating defense for Steve Sarkisian and the Longhorns in 21, in a year in which they are rebuilding and they hope to challenge for the Big 12 championship. We'll see. They have a big game against Louisiana to start this year. But I'm really interested to see what Washington looks like, because odds-on favorite to win the job as a true freshman, Sam Heward, has shown up to spring practice after finishing his season, putting up some gaudy numbers in high school, one of the best quarterbacks available in the 21 class, and a legacy, the nephew of one Brock Heward, colleague of mine at Fox Sports. I'm excited because if Jimmy lets Sam open up and throw the ball around a little bit, it could be a lot of fun. Now, they're going to get a few more grad transfers, I think, that can play offensive football, particularly at wide receiver. I know they're getting Giles, and others are going to come in, but they really need to figure out whether or not they want to be a run-oriented team as they've been in the past, or they want to let Sam Heward figure out whether or not he can throw the ball down the field, because that's also going to change the way they play defense, right? If you're a ball control offense, you're also betting on your defense to be as good as the Washington Huskies have been. And one of the things I think gets lost about talking about Washington football in particular is that they won the Pac-12 North Division, and then COVID-19 protocols kept them out of playing in the Pac-12 championship. Oregon gets that bid to play USC, beats USC, and goes to the Fiesta Bowl to get waxed by Iowa State in the biggest bowl win in Iowa State history, the best season in Iowa State history. But there are other suitors that you have to pay attention to, notably Ohio State and Alabama. There are many Buckeye fans that believe that JT Tuimoloau is an Ohio State lean. It's just about getting on campus. It's just about making sure you feel good in the capable hands of Ryan Day and Uncle Larry on that defensive line, because Larry Johnson Sr. knows exactly what he's doing on that defensive line. If you're talking about putting dudes into the NFL on defensive line, you're talking about Ohio State. Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, Chase Young, and we'll see more, right? Jonathan Cooper, I think, is gloriously slept on. Haskell Garrett, good. Tommy Togiai going to show out. I think he's going to be a day 2 draft pick. He's showed some really great tape for me in 2020. And you continue to look at some of the guys they recruited. you're going to have hammers and hitters. I mean, Jack Sawyer is one of the first guys to lose his black stripe this spring. You know what kind of players you're going to have to help make you better. You also know that that offensive line is going to give you everything you want and more. I'm looking forward to see what Paris Johnson can show, among others. Thayer Mumford, another. You know what it is at Alabama, but also you know what it is at Ohio State. And let's not forget, Alabama beat the hell out of Ohio State in the college football playoff national championship game. And they got some hitters as well. Like, Will Anderson is going to be, I think, the best edge man in the entire sport next year. He's that good. But you also have Drew Sanders, who's going to be coming along. They lose Christian Barmore, so you might have more opportunities to rotate in, but it's not as if they don't stack and stack and stack. And as one assistant coach told me earlier today, Alabama recruits itself. You don't really have to do much. You just have to wear the Crimson Tide colors, say that you work at Alabama, and usually you're going to get who you want to get because you know that you're going to be developed into one of the best players in the sport, and you're looking at being a day one NFL draft pick, especially if you play defensive tackle, which is one of those positions where you want to draft those guys early and highly because good Lord just doesn't make too many people that are 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", weigh 280 to 320 pounds and can move. And that is exactly what JT Tuimoloau allows you. Like, just watch his tape as a tight end and you'll get what I'm saying, what I'm seeing here. Like, this is a guy that got a Washington State basketball offer. And he's got other offers to play basketball in addition to playing football. And I think that might be something that he might be interested in, particularly at Ohio State or Alabama, if you're more likely to let him do some of both whenever possible, perhaps. But it's really difficult because those sports overlap, right? You start playing basketball October, November. You're finishing up football December, January. You get there in time for conference play, you go play in the NCAA tournament, but you're also missing crucial parts of spring ball. So you're really relying on that dude's talent. But he's one of those dudes that I think could play two sports at the FBS and Division I level and still not lose anything. Still have to make a decision a little bit later on, like Kyler Murray had to. The only guy that I think of in my lifetime that didn't have to do that was Deion Sanders, and we know what kind of player Deion Sanders is. But we'll see if Oregon can make a run late. We'll see if USC can make a run late. Right now, I feel good about Ohio State, feel good about Washington, Alabama. We'll see where it lands, but we won't get any closer to knowing what JT Tuimoloau is doing until August. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.